Hello, good evening and welcome to the Mackmyra midweek bottle focus tasting. This evening we shall be deep diving into Intelligens and Gruvguld. My name is Mickey, I'm coming to you from Glasgow, and this is Lawrence, other way.
Hi guys, I'm here from Leeds.
Fantastic. So guys, people on YouTube, don't forget to follow us. Click on the bell to make sure you get to see when we come live. Those of you on Facebook, make sure you like us, share us with your pals, especially if you enjoy what we're doing. That would be really, really helpful. Thank you very much. So to start off, we do have a really good deal on this week for quite a limited time. It is the seasonal pack. And in the seasonal pack, you get 6 bottles of whiskey that you see before you there, guys. That is the Apple Blonde, which is a Calvados cask. We got the Vinterglad, which is mulled wine finish. The Svensk Rock Amerikansk Ek, which is our Virgin American Oak smoky whiskey. The Gruvguld, which we'll be touching on tonight. The Herditit, which is an Amarone cask. And obviously, and the AI, which we're going to touch on tonight as well, guys. So all of those 6 whiskies for £240. That is a saving of £164.40. So yeah, that is an absolutely fantastic deal, Lawrence. What do you reckon to that deal?
Yeah, £40 a bottle. It's a steal. It's almost just giving it away. It's so good.
Basically, especially with whiskey of this quality as well, you know.
No.
Okay, so first bottle off the rank tonight, shall we say, is AI. So it's AI01 Intelligens. So at Mackmyra, we really do live by our tagline, which is Explorers in Whiskey. So as you all know, Mackmyra was the first whiskey distillery in Sweden, beginning production in 1999, which I find it's a bit of a surprise that nobody come up with a distillery before that, really, considering, you know, Sweden has some of the purest water, fantastic barley growing conditions, and some of the best oak around for making barrels. But we were the first, so happy days. So with that in mind, for our 20th birthday, we wanted to make a world's first whiskey, really, and a computer-generated whiskey, as you were, so AI, artificial intelligence. I really want to do something special. So we took lots of data, including existing recipes, including those for our award-winning recipes as well, tasting notes, cask types, expert ratings, sales data, alcohol strength, and customer preferences, and fed it all into a computer. You know, something like that. It's just, I don't know if, you know, obviously nobody's done that before. It's just actually phenomenal. So the AI cognitive services, which were developed by a Finnish tech company called Fourkind, powered by Microsoft Azure cloud platform, whacked it into a big computer run by those guys, and that gave us really 70 million recipes. Could you even comprehend that? 70 million recipes, Lawrence. I mean, I didn't even
have a good weekend on it.
And then some, mate, and then some, yeah. So they ranked. So the computer software then ranked them from 1 to 70 million. That in a predicted popularity, basically, number 1 would be perceived as the most popular, to 70 million being the least popular, but all still really good. From that, Angela Dorazio, our master blender, took the top 5, put those recipes together, and went through a tasting process, basically, and whittled it down to 1. And the result of that is Intelligens, what you see before you now, which is a elegant Swedish malt whiskey, which has won gold. So it's not just new, but it's actually won prizes, gold, and best of category in the prestigious Craft Spirits Awards competition organised by the American Distilling Institute. So award-winning computer-generated whiskey. So it wasn't too, you know, it wasn't like we just sent robots into the distillery to make the whiskey. Do you know what I mean? There was human interaction there as well, and obviously Angela had the final say to what was going to be produced. You can just go, right, that said that's number one. We'll bottle that and put it out there and hope for the best. No, we just basically, so the longest process in whiskey making probably has to be cask sampling and knowing what's going to go together well, and what's going to work together well. You have your ideas on paper, what should work, yeah, but sometimes it doesn't maybe quite work out actually in the right way, in real life, shall we say. But number one, at the top, well, the top five, Angela played with them and come out with the way. I don't quite know where this recipe falls in 1 to 5, but this one was the winner. So the cask makeup of it, it was a selection of our 200 litre, 100 litre, and 30 litre Swedish and American oak ex-bourbon casks. So as we spoke about in previous as well, the new make spirit from Mackmyra really lends itself well to the combination of the Swedish oak. Yeah, you get that extra bit of spices from the Swedish oak and that vanilla essence sort of flavors that you get from the ex-bourbon American oak as well. So, some in the glass. Let's go for our tasting notes, shall we, Lawrence? So on the nose, toffee and creamy vanilla. Some fine Oloroso tones coming through there as well, with some fruit and citrus. Some pear and apple. Herbal notes of aniseed. Some ginger and white pepper. The white pepper really, really jumps up at me. And a light tone of toasted oak. So, the most important bit, how does it taste? It smells good. How does it taste? So get the vanilla come through with the fine oak notes. Yeah, the fruits and the citrus and the pear are really quite there. One thing that does stand out for me without water is that white pepper. That good spiciness of that white pepper comes through really, really well. So with a touch of water. So remember, guys, just a touch of water, just a little tiny bit. That will change the profile of your dram, no matter what dram you're drinking. Just a little touch of water will change that. With the addition of the water, those peppery notes have died down a little bit. I get a little bit of tobacco leaves coming through now, and a very, very, very small, very subtle hint of. So I mean, it's minute. So I mean, that could come from probably the charring of the cask, basically. And on the finish there, very fruity, oaky, slight bit of salt. Oh, nice, Shane. Nice, yeah. It is a good dram to go to for sure, definitely. So yeah, so slightly smoky, and it does have a slight dryness at the end, but only very slight, and that improves a little bit with the addition of water. So what do you reckon to that one, Lawrence?
Yeah, it's delicious. It's on the nose especially. It's all sorts of candied citrus peels, you know, sort of like candied lemon, like we'd put on top of a cake or something. Yeah, it's delicious. And then yeah, that pepper that you've picked up on is beautiful. It's like a gingery white pepper spice right at the back, just to balance it all out. And then yeah, like you commented on it, it's a slight bitter finish, that drying quality from the Swedish oak. It's such a beautifully balanced dram for you. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, it's great for number.
So you reckon that'll go well to a couple of cocktails then, Lawrence?
Oh yeah, 100%. I've batched you a couple up here today. So my first cocktail to get you started is a delicious peach highball. So it's a super easy drink to make. Just build it over ice. 45 ml of the Intelligens, 12.5 ml of a covert fig leaf liqueur. So this is going to complement all those really nice orchard fruit notes that we've mentioned. 3 dashes of some peach bitters. So this is going to perfectly tie together those candied citrus peel and vanilla notes. And then it's just been lengthened with some soda water before being garnished with an orange twist. So it's just a really nice, easy summer sipping drink. Perfect sort of like barbecue cocktail drink. It go really nicely with the weather you've been having up in Glasgow.
Definitely, for sure. No, that sounds really does sound refreshing. So, for a food pairing point of view, then on a nice refreshing long drink like that, really outside. You mentioned the barbecue. I think I'd have to go for some barbecued halloumi. I think.
Oh yeah.
So the saltiness in the halloumi to bring out that little bit of extra saltiness that you're going to get through in the finish on the dram. Do you know what I mean? To just to really emphasize that, I think that would be some nice halloumi fries just done on the grill, done on the barbecue, sipping on that highball. Definitely.
That sounds great.
That sounds like the weekend plan, mate. I think. Especially if this weather keeps up here, for sure. So then, Lawrence.
On to my next one.
Yeah, another cocktail. Yeah, for sure.
I've got you another one. So it's a white boulevardier that I've got for you next. So it's just a slightly lighter springtime version of that classic that we all know and love. It's 45 ml of the Intelligens, 30 ml Lillet Blanc. So it's a beautiful fortified French wine, which is going to complement those waxy lemon notes. 7.5 ml of Suze, just a gentian liqueur. This is going to bring out those herbaceous notes and add that bittersweet element to it. 7.5 ml of an elderflower cordial. That's just going to add an extra level of sweetness and again bring out all those beautiful green notes. 2 drops of the Mrs. Better's green strawberry bitters, and then just stir it all over ice, serve it up, and then I've garnished it with a discarded pink grapefruit twist. Now the reason I've used the pink grapefruit is it just pairs perfectly with elderflower. Grapefruit and elderflower is just one of those weird marriages that just works for some reason and no one really knows why. But it's just slightly lighter than orange. Orange I can find too heavy and too sweet, too cloying, and lemon can sometimes be a little bit too overpowering and give things an almost cleaning product like quality on the nose. But so the sherbety finish and that bittersweet element from the grapefruit is perfect for it.
Nice. That sounds lovely, mate. That sounds lovely. Sounds like something I would have maybe after dinner. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, those bittersweet notes will really help you digest all your food.
Yeah. So have to be halloumi fries and that. Might have to go with that. I might actually have like a wee apple turnover or an apple strudel type thing. So a nice bit of light flaky pastry. Yeah, but with those stewed apples going through. So a bit more indulgent. Yeah, but I think that would go really, really well with that boulevardier. Yeah,
it sounds good.
Really, you know what I mean? Just a bit more sumptuous, a bit of a dessert, nice sweet sip, bit of strudel. If you're doing the strudel thing, maybe a bit of custard on it, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah. No, I think that dinner's ready in a minute, so that'd be good. Brilliant. So, guys, so that takes up our information on AI. If you've got any questions, please sling them in. Yeah, definitely a shame. Without question about that. Summer in the glass for sure. Don't know if you guys down south are getting much of the summer at the moment, but up in Glasgow, surprisingly enough, it is lovely. It is like a good summer's day up here at the moment. But no, so any questions, anything you've got, guys, please send it into the comments over on Facebook or into the comments on YouTube. And please remember, we do have a deal running for a limited time, for a week. That is our seasonal pack, as you can see it in front of you again. That's our Apple Blonde Calvados, our Winterglad mulled wine finish, our AI that we've just spoken about, our Gruvguld, which we're going to go on to next, the Herd de Tid, which is the Amarone, and the Svensk Rock Amerikansk Ek, which is a Swedish smoke American oak. All for £240, guys. 6 quality bottles of whiskey, but 40 quid a bottle. Absolutely phenomenal. So, without much ado, I shall hand over to Lawrence to take us through Gruvguld.
Yeah, so Gruvguld, which translates to gold from the mine. And as you can see, it makes perfect sense. If you hold your bottle up to the light, that colour on it, the amber gold, is just absolutely gorgeous. Now, as the name suggested, the whiskey's been rested in a mine, specifically the Bodas mine, which is an old ore mine that's situated about 50 kilometres away from our distillery. Industrial ore mining started there in the 1930s, and over time, over 100,000 tons of ore were mined from there. Now, unfortunately, in 1973, they actually ran out of ore. So mushroom farmers took over the place, using those dark and dank conditions, which they found were perfect for farming. But in the 90s, Polish farmers undercut all the Swedish farmers with their prices. So there was no longer any demand for their business. And that's when we moved in there, using those same dark, dank, humid conditions as a perfect place to store our whiskey. Now, there's a huge different blend of barrels in play here. American oak, Swedish oak, ex-bourbon, ex-Oloroso, and ex-PX. So many X's to try and say in one sentence. So this makes it a really super interesting, really complex little tipple. On the it's chock full of dry spice, followed by like some warm caramel, some like soft, subtle vanilla-y sort of notes, and then you get that that almondy sweetness, that sort of marzipan-like quality from the Oloroso influence. On the palate, you get up front a mixture of sort of tobacco-like smoke mixed with some buttery fudginess. It's really, really viscous. It just coats every single part of your tongue. And on the finish, it's almost that same sort of aftertaste you get after taking out like a big bite of hot buttery toast. It's that like creamy mouthfeel, that warm oiliness, and just, yeah, beautiful, beautiful sort of creamy flavors essentially. What do you think?
Yeah, we know they come from the same distillery. You know what I mean? The same persons put these whiskies together, but you know they're just worlds apart when it comes to the flavors. Both equally as fantastic, but such a contrast in the flavors. You know, absolutely phenomenal.
Yes, some great stuff.
Definitely. So this has to go well in a cocktail, Lawrence.
100%. So my first one is just a little riff on a classic espresso martini. So it's 40 mils of the Gruvguld, 20 mils of a coffee liqueur, and then 15 mil of my top secret ingredient. Now I use this secret ingredient every single day in my bar. It's a Guinness syrup. So it's made really easily, equal parts Guinness and brown sugar with a little dribbling of vanilla essence. It's all just stirred down on a low heat until all that sugar's dissolved. And then 70 mils of coffee. Make sure you give it like a really, really hard shake, get that really big, thick, creamy head on it, and then just garnish with the traditional 3 coffee beans.
So
but this is a super... Sorry, go on.
No, so with your coffee, when you're adding coffee, would you add that like freshly made coffee and put it in hot and then allow the ice to do its job, or would you let that cool down first?
I mean, if we're in a bar, we pre-make it and just leave it cool. So we've got a big old bottle of it. But yeah, if you're just doing it at your home, 100, just throw it in cold. The ice is going to do its thing like that. And if you shake it hard enough, like it's going to be fine. Yeah, this is going to be like a real super rich, decadent cocktail. It's almost like a dessert-like cocktail. That's just going to push forward all those beautiful, creamy, fudgy caramel sort of notes. Yeah, it's a after dinner drink for sure.
Oh yeah. Definitely. You know, a kind of food pairing wise would really go really, really well with that cocktail and this in general. I think some fruit loaf, like a saurine fruit loaf, or just like a fruit cake type thing with those dried fruits going through it. Maybe not quite as heavy as a Christmas cake type thing. Do you know what I mean? But something that a little bit lighter that's got some of those dried fruits going through it and a bit of clotted cream on the top. Yeah, just for that indulgence, just super overwhelming indulgence there to go with that cocktail, and just a bit of fruit loaf, just to take it with the dram straight, really, probably.
Oh, 100%. And I'm a sucker for saurine, to be fair.
Yeah,
absolutely love it.
Notes are available.
yeah, no biases whatsoever. These are my opinions and mine alone.
Fantastic. So with this hot weather I'm getting up here at the moment, Lawrence, and obviously, I'm going to start the barbecue up at the weekend if the weather keeps on. Have you got something that would go along those sort of lines?
Yeah, 100%. So it's complete opposite end of the scale. It's again another beautiful highball. So it's 35 ml of the Gruvguld, 25 ml of some Martini Rubino. So it's not, there you go. That's the badger, bright red one. And then it's just topped up with some ginger ale. Again, really easy, nice little cocktail to make. Just built all over ice. The Rubino is going to bring forward those rich berry notes that are given to it from the PX cask. Which coffee liqueur? So I really like Mr. Black's. So it's an Australian brand. It's made in Melbourne. It's super, super rich. It's probably the most coffee flavored coffee liqueur, which sounds ridiculous, but a lot of coffee liqueurs I find are just coffee hints of coffee and more brown, more sugar and more like muscovado. But yeah, the Mr. Black's coffee liqueur is like espresso that has been sweetened. So it's yeah, Mr. Black's is my go-to coffee liqueur.
Also.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's great. But yeah, that cocktail again, yeah, it's going to be the perfect sort of cocktail. You can pre-batch it in jugs like you would instead of like Pimm's, for example.
Yeah.
And yeah, once you're allowed to get the barbie up and running and host it and actually have some friends around and see humans again for the first time in God knows how long, it'd be this perfect sort of drink just to share out with some mates.
Well, I've had a big picture of that, mate. I might actually get some friends then. You know what I mean? No, that sounds really refreshing. You know, I think I'd like to wash down just a nice barbecue, nice like a butcher's burger with that. Do you know what I mean? So a nice proper handmade burger or in your own home, lots of bit of pepper and that in there, a nice big bite of burger, and wash it down with that cocktail. Yeah. I think that would be the business there, Lawrence. That would definitely without a doubt be the business.
Match made in heaven.
Yeah, without questionable doubt, my friend. Without questionable doubt. Okay, guys. So that roughly is all we've got. Any more on the Gruvguld, Lawrence? So we pretty much covered that?
No, yeah, just go and buy some. Make sure you get yourself your discovery pack and get yourself a bottle. Yeah, it's such a good little dram.
For sure. So, guys, I'll remind you of the offer again that we've got on for 1 week only. So to save £124 off these 6 bottles of whiskey, yeah. So we've got the Apple Blum, the Vinterglod, the AI, the Gruvguld, the Herd de Tid, not Scoted Head, Herd de Tid, and the Svensk Ruk American Ek. I know it's a mouthful. For £240, guys. Okay, it is limited. All right, time is nearly up on this, so make sure you get in there fast and get those 6 bottles of whiskey for that bargain price.
It's almost Father's Day, so
exactly. Yeah. Get it in.
Give him one. Keep 5 for yourself.
A bottle for your dad, or
They are.
Whatever way you want to split it, guys. Whatever way you want to split it, Okay.
Do you have a favourite out of the pack, Mickey?
My favourite. That's difficult, mate. I'm going to be honest with you. It's difficult. I do quite like the Svensk Ruk American Ek. I do like that quite stronger, smokier flavour that we've got going through that. But honestly, there's not. I know I'm a bit biased saying it, obviously, but there's not really a bad one going through it. Those seasonals are they're fantastic and really innovative, Lawrence. What about yourself?
It's the mulled wine cask. It's so good. Yeah. I'm a big fan of like particularly PX sherry finished whiskies, like that really nice rich mouthfeel, the dark berry sweetness. But yeah, the spices you get coming through the back of that is there you go.
Connor's the same. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, it's unlike anything else I've ever tasted. So yeah, it's amazing. It's right up my street.
Brilliant. Thanks, Camille. Right, guys, I think that's it for today. So don't forget the offer we've got on, guys. Okay, tomorrow we've got our weekly Friday fun, what starts at 6 o'clock with the guys there. And on Saturday is going to be our very first cooking with Mackmyra. So sort of our own take on a Saturday morning kitchen type affair, or a Saturday morning cooking show anyway. So that's Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, guys. Make sure you tune into both of those. We'll be back next week, hopefully, if they'll have us again. Okay, so Lawrence, thanks for joining us. Fantastic cocktails.
Thank you, mate.
I'm definitely gonna fire into them. So stay tuned, guys. Thank you very much.
See you later.
And, Skål.